Hi friends, this is Lady Flora, and in this video I want to show you all of the read-alouds, living books, projects, and props that we plan to use for our American History unit study. If you're new to this channel, I am a full-time working homeschooling mom of 3, Songbird who is 7 years old, Man Cub who is 4 years old, and this little guy who is 1 year old. So we are in a classical conversations community, and this is not just our American history study. This is also our science for classical conversations as well as some Latin. We use the classical, unschooling, eclectic, Charlotte Mason approach to homeschooling. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, you should subscribe and ring the bell if you want to be notified of future videos. Now let's look at some books. Before we start CC this year, I'm going to read this book with my daughter, and we're going to get out our little Native American figures that we like to play with. We got these when we did our first cycle 3, which was 3 years ago, and they have been a huge hit with my kids. It's just like these little plastic figures of Native Americans, but I'm really excited about them because they love them. And this book, you guys, is one of the best books I have found on teaching your children about Native Americans. It talks about different tribes, and it just has a lot of good information in it. My daughter has returned to this book numerous times because she finds it so interesting, and so to me that's a really good sign of a good book. So one of the things I'm hoping to do is to have this candle on the table when we're doing our lessons. It's got like a really cool colonial old world kind of vibe to it, and I'm hoping this will kind of set the tone. I got the Little House on the Prairie series, and I'm thinking that this will either be a read aloud for the family, or my daughter might take these on and read them herself. She's been reading the Ramona Quimbley series, and I think these might even be easier for her to read. I'm not sure. It was a long time ago that I read them, but I think these will be really great with the little girl as the main character. I think my daughter's really gonna like them. And I just got the first 4. So the first history sentence is about Columbus, and I've got a book that I'm going to borrow from the library, which is about Columbus, and I believe the illustrator is, well, I can't remember. I'll put it right here. The illustrator and the writer. It's a really great series of books that they've done together, and they're sort of older. I heard some good things about this book, and I really like the illustrations. This is going to be our book about the Pilgrims, as well as our Thanksgiving book that we're going to read this on Thanksgiving, and I think that will be a lot of fun. I like having holiday-specific books, and I love how it looks without the dust jacket. So probably around week 3 to week 5, I've got these books for my daughter to read: George the Drummer Boy, Phoebe the Spy, and Sam the Minuteman. I think these will be just really great books to kind of paint the picture of the colonial times through the eyes of children, and a lot of what was going on right around the time of the American Revolution. Got a little carried away, and I even got a little tri-cornered hat because I thought it would be so fun to wear this and burn our little candle and just talk about like colonial times. We're also going to check out a book that is called, I believe it's called We're Writing the Constitution, and we're getting that from the library. I've got it kind of planned out to become available around week 4. And in addition, there's going to be a book about George Washington that we're getting from the library by that same author whose name I can't remember, which I will write right here. So I got this book about Sacagawea, and this is totally a cover buy, but I knew that my daughter would just adore this picture of Sacagawea with her little baby, and I'm really excited to show it to her. I think she's going to love it. I got this book when we did our cycle 3 years ago, and I have no regrets. It was a little bit of, I don't know, it was just a little extra to get this book. It's really just like a beautiful kind of wonder book. I'm beginning to really like Peter Sis. I have another book by him that I'm going to show you in a few minutes. But every state is a train car in this train. And there's all this like interesting facts about it. And I confess it hasn't really held my daughter's attention, but it's really beautiful. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to try and display it as we're memorizing the different states and capitals. Look at that. Sleepy Hollow. I'm going to try and display it to line up with the different states and capitals that we're memorizing, and hopefully it will capture her attention. Oh look, Florida. That's where I'm from. We've also got this map, which is blank, and your child can just put in the initials of the state. It's almost like a game. It's like a dry erase kind of thing, and somebody gave it to us a long time ago, and this will be a great time to use it. So this book is going to line up with some of the information that the kids are learning about the human body in the first 12 weeks. And we've had this book for a little while now. My daughter's already seen it, but I thought it would be a great tie-in, and also where we've requested a couple books from the library that are like Usborne books, like Look Inside the Human Body and stuff like that. So that will help us with science for the first 12 weeks. I also have these kind of general materials, national monuments, nature. So these are just a lot of the national monuments in North America. And this is about the railroad. These are just things I already had on my shelf. Okay, so this is westward expansion to the Civil War. Okay, that's cool. This is from Chick-fil-A. Somebody gave this to us, and it looks pretty cool. So this will just be appropriate. My daughter loves this book. We've had this a while. Magic School Bus builds the Statue of Liberty. And then this one, the United States, just a book that we already had that I thought would be appropriate. Space exploration, when we learn about Apollo 11, I believe. I also have this that was given to me by one of my mom's friends who happens to be a teacher. This might be a little dry, but it's kind of a cool experience to shuffle through all these old guys. Yeah, so we'll be using this, and this could be a good way for my daughter to just kind of understand what all these names are that we're singing about when we sing the president's songs. I like that it says field guide. Like you're going to be out in the field and you might spot a wild president, and you need this to help identify what president it is. I also got this Scrunch Map, which I am planning to stick up on my wall, and it's very colorful. I was thinking about getting a vintage map, but these were a little bit less expensive and, dare I say, more fun. You gotta open it up and like see where you are on the map and spread out the map and get your little magnifying glass out and see, you know, where is Columbus, Ohio. And anyways, I think my kids are really gonna like using this map. So for learning about immigration, we're going to read this book, The Long Way to a New Land. And it looks a little bit serious and maybe a little sad, but I think my daughter's going to enjoy reading it, and I'm hoping it has a happy ending. And then in addition, I got this one as well for learning about the westward expansion. I got this book for World War II. And I was pretty excited when I found out about it. I love books like this. This is a carrier pigeon who helped save some soldiers by delivering a very important message right on time. And I just love stories like this. My daughter, and I feel like a lot of other children, can really relate to animals and stories about animals. So I think this will really speak to her. So for week 19, I got this book called The Wall, also by Peter Sis, Growing Up Behind the Iron Curtain. And I believe this is a little bit of a biography for him. I'm not sure, but again, babies. This is my daughter's language. She loves learning about stories told about babies or from the perspective of babies or anything having to do with babies. And so this is just about a little boy growing up behind the Iron Curtain. I was not so sure about this book, but I got it and I've been flipping through it and I feel pretty good about it. I think this is a really good introduction to the realities of the Iron Curtain. So around week 20, I've got a book coming from the library about Ruby Bridges to go along with this history sentence. And we've also got a book about the speech that Martin Luther King gave, the I Have a Dream speech. And the book comes with a DVD, so we're going to be listening to that. Did I say DVD? I meant a CD. Oh, and then we learned the Constitution, or the preamble to the Constitution. And for that, we're going to make a feather pen, and we're going to make some tea-stained paper and roll it in the shape of a scroll and write out the preamble. I think that's going to be really fun. So I got a couple kits for some projects that we're going to do. I just mentioned that we're going to make a feather pen. I'd also like to make a rag doll that I think I can get the tutorial from Pepper and Pine's website. I actually got the idea from her. I think my daughter will really like that. She's not super into dolls, but she loves making toys. And I think that will go really well with our Little House on the Prairie series. But I got these kits from a company called Montana Leather, and I thought this would be really great for when we're learning about Sacagawea. And this will be really great in the beginning when we're playing with our little plastic Native Americans. I think they'll fit in there. I think that would be a really fun adventure. And I forgot to tell you that we're also getting a book called Pocahontas by the author that I keep referring to, author and illustrator, whose name or names will go right here. And I'm really excited about that book. And I think that will be a great way to get started learning about American history. I would also like to add that I have gotten this book for my daughter, Minimus, Starting Out in Latin, based on some really great reviews that I've seen here on YouTube. Also, it uses comics to teach Latin, which is my daughter's love language. And she loves comics, she loves babies. Now you know everything about her. But I thought this would be a really great way to kind of bring relevance to a lot of the Latin things that we're learning. Please let me know in the comments below what materials you are using for Classical Conversations Cycle 3 this year, and what has inspired you about the memory work that our kids are going to be learning. And so until we meet again, enjoy your children and rest in the sublime.